as a Mercury in Virgo, I'm finding that processing information online, processing a lot of the information that's available online is extremely taxing. Gemini is an energy about being bombarded. Okay, Gemini is all about indiscriminate, non-judgmental quest and absorption of a lot of data. So for an individual who has strong Gemini energy or Mercury in Gemini, YouTube Shorts may be really good for you. TikTok is probably going to be good for you because the variety and the fact that it's very short, very quick, very snackable is really helpful for your brain. This is not the case for a Mercury in Virgo, I'm finding. And it doesn't mean that it's any less addicting. It just means that it's not good for your mental health. The way how my mind works is a bit strange because I wouldn't necessarily say that all Mercury in Virgos would have this particular trait, because mine is at 29 degrees, at the critical degree. It's my Makaraka. So it is a little bit, it's more meta, the way how I process information. The way how I see Gemini is absorbing a lot of data, but Virgo is branching out data. The way how I think in my mind is like a mind map. You know how mind map, it's like the what do you call it, the ganglia, like the nerve cells that branch out, except it's never ending. You are likely to fall within some sort of a never ending cascading mind map that gets very complex and a rabbit hole, basically. So whereas somebody else that has neurodivergence with probably Gemini would probably drop things and see something else and drop it. That's the Gemini vibe. I mean, that can happen to a Virgo too, but a Virgo is more likely to get lost. You know, they're more likely to get lost within a particular thing and forget all about the head of the stream. I don't even know how to describe. And the pressure of my Virgo Mercury anyway is to manage the whole thing, to manage the end of the stream and the head of the stream as well. This causes a lot of tension. This is where the nervous anxiety comes from. There's a lot of mental work, mental churning that's happening, mental processing that's happening. If you're trying to burn the candle from two ends, you're trying to manage the cascading chain plus the branches, the roots, the stems. You're trying to work with everything, the whole tree. And every time you go on YouTube Shorts, you're probably going to be adding branches or planting completely different trees in the mind. And the Virgo Mercury is trying to keep tabs on everything that's going on. Essentially what I'm saying is, if you have Mercury in Virgo, especially if it's in a very high degree, if it's approaching the end of the sign of Virgo, you cannot entertain indiscriminate information. You have to cut off and limit the amount of information that you're allowing in, because you are not masculine air. Okay, we have to ground as part of the mental process, ground by narrowing down and being a lot more, this is the energy of more like specialization. Okay, it's more about refinement. It's about doing less but doing more with less, because what happens is the refinement process actually creates new branches. Okay, it's not like the refinement process is limiting the data. The data set is not actually being reduced. The data set is actually being expanded, right? And through those expansions, then we can decide, what chains need to be cut off, what streams can be eradicated, etc. What makes no sense, so on and so forth. If you're taking in a whole bunch of information, it's going to cause a lot of mental strain, a lot of confusion, because you're processing one chain and you're also trying to, we can't do YouTube Shorts. I don't know if there are any other Virgo Mercuries out there that can attest to this. Please chime in and let me know. If it is that you are a Virgo Mercury and you're finding it very difficult to contain the amount of nervous, mental processing that's going on, like I'll have times when I just can't sleep. I'll have times when my mind will not shut off. I have times where I'm sleeping and I'm still thinking. I'm still calculating, I'm still processing, and I'm sleeping. And it will seem like dreams, right? But it's really not dreams. It's the fact that I didn't actually finish calculating something or expanding a particular chain. and I brought it over to my sleep. So the first thing that as I wake up, it wakes me up. First of all, I don't even get a full night of sleep, which is really important for a Virgo Mercury. You need to be sleeping, right? This is not an air sign, okay? And obviously our body needs the rest, but you're not a Gemini. All of that mental processing needs to be fruitful, and the way how it becomes fruitful is when you follow through to the end of those chains until it starts to manifest itself into a system where, you know, it starts to become something more stable. Basically, it is more refined. You're constantly being bombarded and distracted, which is needful for a Gemini's mental processing, right? I don't know what they do with theirs. I don't know how their mental framework is, but if you're a Virgo Mercury, it's very unhealthy to be, you know, I avoided TikTok for so many years. I avoided TikTok for so long. Eventually I got sucked into it, and I can't tell you how much sleep I've lost since that time. So stay off TikTok, you know. I think podcasts were always a thing for me in the past because, you know, I could just put it on and do whatever, and information is floating by and I already know the topic, you know, and it's more of a deep dive, you know, and I could pick and choose what points out of it I want to expand on. But when you're being like have you seen that meme with a girl with the sausages yeah, that's how it is. That's literally how I feel when I open TikTok, and your like rapid swiping motion, you don't even remember that, you know, even if I had the thought, you know, I'm gonna get off of this app, you just know to swipe, just swipe. That's why now I'm just going back to doing my podcasts, long form content, where I could put my phone down, do what I'm doing, and listen, right? That's so much more important for us, just to listen and passively gather the information, have time to think about what it is that we're hearing and so on, and pursue a topic more deeply in that, not like shadow, like snackable type content.